Hello, lovelies. Part two. My internet was dropping out, so please bear with me. If you haven't watched part one, I suggest you watch part one before watching this second part. All right. So we were talking about what ways that you break no contact with the narcissist and what to do about it. So we have gotten to so speaking about when you have an epiphany and you have some kind of moment of clarity and you want to talk to them just to get closure, and the reality is they're not going to ever just give you closure. It doesn't matter how big your epiphany it is. It doesn't matter if you have a near-death experience or someone that you love has a near-death experience. None of that stuff matters to them because they're not like the rest of us. They're maladapted. All they want is fuel from you. So they want to keep you in this holding pattern. Anger and rage has a place for a narcissist. That's all about getting fuel and keeping you there. If you get closure, if you get to actually walk away from them, you might actually get away for good. And that's not, they're not okay with that. Remember, once you're a narcissistic possession, they want to keep you as a possession. All right. So another mistake that you'll probably make, and most of us do, is replying to hoovering attempts. There's lots of different ways the narcissist will hoover. Some of them are as cliched and ridiculous as, sending you, I don't know, a message that they meant for someone else, that they meant, and they accidentally sent it to you. And then they go, and then when you say, what are you talking about or whatever? Oh, yes, sorry, I was, wrong person or some ridiculousness. Right. This is the kind of thing that narcissists do. So they love to play these games, and they know full well that if you fell for that you would be feeling some kind of heartache and hurt. For example, let's just say they sent you this message, I'll never stop loving you. As good as any. And when you respond, then they say, oh, no, sorry, it was meant for someone else. This is the kind of thing they do. All right. So this is why no matter what they send, so if they, do the loving hoovering, if they do the anger and raging kind of hoovering, demanding that you deliver some of their property, there's a whole range of ways that narcissists hoover. But regardless of the hoover attempt, the fact that you responded is the issue. Okay? First of all, no contact means you shouldn't even be reading those text messages. You shouldn't be getting those phone calls from them. So you need to tighten up your no contact. Okay. Secondly, responding just plays right into it. So even if you respond like I did, listen to this. This is a true story. So my ex sent me a text message that said, "Some songs for you." Right? There was 3 songs, one of which was a song by a rapper called Kalichi, and it was called Drug of Choice. And if you listen to the words, the lyrics, it's quite obviously a quite kind of deep, emotional song. Anyhow, the joke of this is, at the time, I sent back some other songs that were kind of like quite in your face. It was like Angie Martinez, Go Motherfucker, and I can't think what the other ones were, but they were kind of I responded, but not in the way I suppose that he was hoping that I would respond. Later on in communication, I had said, do not send me love songs. Don't try and sext me. Do not try and do any of these things. And he was then saying, oh, what proof have you got? And so when I sent the proof of the actual screenshot of the text message, then he tried to pretend that, no, he'd actually sent it to me, but it was about who he's with, so the new supplier. So this is why we do not bother to communicate with them, because they can lie to themselves, they lie to us, they lie to the new supply, and they can lie and lie upon lies. They honestly just don't care. Like there's no embarrassment for them about lying. They just, if they can get, so in that particular instance, I'm sure the new supplier was probably sitting over his, right shoulder, looking at every word he was texting. So he had to, like I can always kind of tell when she's around because the tone of text or, the way he talks on the phone is really different when she's around. So I understand that she probably would have been right there reading the text message. But, the fact that there's no logic, into, him saying, oh, I sent it to you, but it's about my new supply, because even if in someone's weird, bizarre reality, even if that was the case, surely then when I responded with these other songs, surely that would have been his moment to say, oh no, I'm actually talking about, the new supply. But no, he didn't do that because that wasn't how it went down. But as I said, narcissists, they just don't care. They lie upon lies. And as long as they can get the new supply or whoever the supply is at the time to stay sitting where they're sitting, that's all that matters. If they can steal life one day at a time, that's all that matters to them, which is why we do not bother to respond. We don't bother to respond by saying, yes, I love you too. We don't bother to respond by saying, no, I don't love you, don't contact me, because look at that. He managed to turn around a situation where he sent me a love song declaring undying love, right? He's managed to turn it around and try and say that no, it's actually that I'm creating this in my head. And then when I actually go, well, here's the proof, then he goes, oh, well, no. Actually, I was sending it about this other woman, which I then sent to you. I mean, no one in their right mind would actually believe that, but that's what narcissists do. That is gaslighting at its very finest. It's triangulation at its very best. And it just shows how out of touch with reality they are. Like how in anyone's world, like anyone hearing that story, could it be quite apparent what's gone down. But in the narcissist's mind, because they've said it, therefore it must be true. So this is why we don't bother to respond. We don't bother to put them in their place. We don't bother to tell them, don't contact me. No matter what you do, all it's ever going to be is fuel for them, right? So in my particular situation, that gave him fuel with him and his new supplier. They would have been arguing about it, and they would have been making up after it, and then he would have been getting so much energy and fuel because, here he is in this situation where he's been caught out. Like he could have lost his relationship. He had been caught out, with his hand in the cookie jar, and yet he managed to last minute, manipulate the situation. And God, does that make him feel so good? Like how powerful and awesome must he feel that he managed to manipulate and lie to his new supply to the point where she stayed with him even after, he's been sending his ex-wife love songs. Like that makes him feel like, super fucking man. Like really, that's fuel, that's powerful. And that is what they want from us, which is why no matter what, right, do not contact them. This is probably the worst breach, to be honest, because at least with the others, when you breach no contact, at least with the, if you're looking at their social media or if you're looking at her social media, all right, that affects you, but it doesn't fuel him unless he finds out about it, obviously. So either way, the most important thing from this whole thing is, yes, you will make mistakes. We all do. Doing no contact is really hard, especially when you've spent months or years or decades, literally, entwined. Your whole life has been entwined with this person. All day, every day, you've been there with them, through the highs, lows, all the rest of it. They've said jump, you've said how high. Everything they wanted, you gave it. So it's hard to disengage from that, and it takes time to stop thinking about them. And this is the main thing when you're breaching no contact. The main problem for you is what you're doing is you're thinking about them again. You're reinfecting yourself with the bullshit. Like I said, with his social media, so you're looking at his social media and, he's telling, he's rewriting the narrative, basically. He's telling the world and you, or you and the world, should I say, he's telling you how he wants you to believe it. So he's putting, he's changing the narrative, he's changing the storylines. And if you really buy into that, that will damage you. It'll damage your head. It'll be confusing. Like, the truth. Okay, just remember this. You know the truth. You were there. You lived through it. You don't need someone rewriting history and retelling history for you. Okay, so do not bother to seek the truth from a narcissist. All you're going to get is their version of events that they want you to know and that they want the world to know. So let's think about it just quickly. Sorry about the 2 videos, but as I said, my internet just dropped out and I couldn't tell whether or not I was being recorded. So between the 2 videos, I think I've probably covered quite enough material tonight. But the main thing is, like I said, forgive yourself. You will do it. We all do it. It's not an easy habit to break, but you will break the habit, because each and every time that you give them the opportunity to let you down, they will let you down. Each and every time you give them an opportunity to hurt you, to take advantage of you, to manipulate you, gaslight you, confuse you, lie to you, they will do it. I can guarantee you they will do it. Your heart dies. Like I said, I've said this before, it's like the death of 1,000 cuts. This slow, painful heart death. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you don't want to love a narcissist. Like, you just don't want to. There is nothing to be gained from loving a narcissist. It's just a life of pain and suffering. So letting yourself die this little heart death, this soul and heart death, it takes time. Grieve if you need to. But as I said, don't be ringing them and trying to talk to them about it. Don't be ringing them trying to get them to let you go and give you closure, because that is the last thing that is ever going to happen. Okay? Once you're narc property for life in their mind. So there's no point in asking them to let you free, because they're just never going to let you go. All right, darlings. Time to get narc free and stay narc free. Thanks for watching. See ya.